we? Today we're going to be talking about the rate of change. So the last two lessons we were talking about representing functions, talking about linear functions, graphing them, and so basically we're going to take it to the next step and talk about the rate of change. So the rate of change, which is also called the slope, it's basically when you have a line, you're talking about the relationship between two objects. So the rate of change is the rate. So a rate is a fraction, if you remember. A rate is a fraction with units. So the rate that describes how one quantity changes in relationship to the other. So for example, one of those examples that you guys had 2 lessons ago had to do about the number of farms over time. So basically the chart told you guys that over time the number of farms decreased over time. So basically if we make a chart, it would be like, okay, one axis is representing the year, or as time goes on, and the other one is representing the number of farms. So basically, we start up here, and then over time, our number of farms goes down. So as the years increase or go on, the number of farms will decrease. So that's how we're going in that direction. So basically, what we're going to be talking about is the relationship between the two things and how they change. So you can have positive slopes or a positive rate of change, a negative rate of change, a 0 rate of change, or no rate of change. So basically, if your graph is going up from left to right, so we read graphs like we read sentences. So we read them from left to right. So if we're looking at this chart and we're reading from left to right, it is increasing. So that means it's positive. So that means as time goes on, something is increasing, or as something else gets bigger, the other one also gets bigger. So that's talking about increasing or positive slope. You get a 0 slope. So 0 slope is different from no slope. So a 0 slope would be if there's no change. Basically it's saying there's no change over time. Or no change when the other one changes. So if something changes, the other one doesn't change. So it just kind of stays the same. Another option would be a negative slope would be if it's going down from left to right, because as one increases, the other is decreasing. So they're kind of going opposite. So that's how it's going down. Alright, so in order to find the rate of change, you're going to be given an equation, or you're going to be given a chart or a graph, and you're going to have to find the rate of change. So you're going to have to plug in the parts into the formula. So we have the rate of change is the change in y, or subtracting y values, over the change in x, subtracting x values. So in case you need to remember, the y values is going up and down, and the x values go left and right. Alright, so in this specific example, we have the year is on the x-axis, and the number of farms is on the y-axis. So we're going to have the change in farms in the numerator, so from one year to the next, how many do we change? And then over the change in time, so how many years do we go from one to the next, okay? So let's go ahead and do some examples, and it might start falling into place a little bit. Let's look at example number 1. So find the rate of change from 2004 to 2005. So first of all, we have to look at our years. Here's 2004 and 2005. Alright, so this is our x values, and this is our y values. So first of all, in order to find the rate of change, so the rate of change is going to be the change in y over the change in x. So we don't want one of these values going in this place. We're going to find the difference between the two, or subtract them. So basically, we're going to look at our y values first. So we're going to do 7.7 minus 4.5 million. And we're going to put that over 2005 minus 2004. So basically, once we subtract, we're going to get 3.2 over 1. So now, you can't stop there, because that doesn't really tell me you understand what's going on. Because it's also going to say something sometimes in your instructions like interpret it and things like that. So basically what they're telling you to do is explain it. So what does 3.2 over 1 mean? So that basically means that it is, are we increasing or decreasing? We're increasing, so we're increasing 3.2 million what? Million subscribers per year. Okay? So it's increasing 3.2 million subscribers per year. So we're adding 3.2 million per year. Alright, so that would be a complete answer. So if you have 3.2 over 1, that does not tell me that you know what's going on at all. The only thing that tells me is that you know how to plug into a formula, which is only part of the battle. We got to finish it by showing me that you understand what you're solving for. Alright? So let's go ahead and look at number 2. It says, Brittany received $200 for her birthday. The table shows the amount Y remaining after after X weeks. So basically, the two things that are being related are the weeks and the amount. So it says that the weeks are representing the X values and the amount is the Y value. So we're going to go ahead and find the rate of change. So we want to figure out the rate of change, so we have to find the change in Y over the change in X. So first I'm going to do 160 minus 120 over 4 minus 2. So that's going to give me, if I do 160 minus 120, I'm going to get 40 over 2. And we're going to go ahead and simplify that. So just like always when you're get a fraction for an answer, you want to simplify it. So we're going to divide by 2, and we're going to get 20. So what does that mean? First of all, we need to look to see if we're increasing or decreasing over time. So as our weeks increase, we are decreasing. So that means that our slope is going to be negative. So that means we are, basically each week, she is going down $20. So she is spending $20 a week. $20 per week. And it will be a negative 20 because we're taking away after each week. So it's not positive, it's negative. So negative $20 per week. Alright, let's go ahead and look at our last example. Now, you can see that I've given you one example of each type. So we have an example of a chart. We have an example of a chart along with kind of a word problem that we have to explain. And then we have a graph. So we're going to have to go from this graph and to find the rate of change. So first of all, in order to find the rate of change, you need to go ahead and find the points. So we need to know what points are located on this line. So on the examples in the book, you're not going to have these points marked for you. You're going to have to find them. So you're going to have to figure out where does a line cross an intersection of the graph paper. Okay? So we have a graph. Our first line is at 0, 35. So I went 0 on the x-axis and I go up 35. Then I have 1 on, I go over 1 and I go up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I go over 2 and I go up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So basically, this is actually enough because you can kind of see the pattern of what's going on. So basically our graph is going down over time, so it's decreasing, so it's going to be a negative slope or a negative rate of change. And we need to figure out what the rate of change is. So basically we're going up, or we're going down 5, so we're going down 5, and we're going up 1. So 5 over 1. So that's basically telling us that we're going negative 5 over 1. That will be our slope, or negative 5. Alright? Alright, another thing you can do when you actually have it graphed for you already is to actually do a little shortcut. We can figure out how much do we have to go down and over to get to our next point. So in this case, we're going from 30 to 25. Even though it looks like I'm moving down 1, I'm actually moving down 5 because we went up in increments of 5 on the y-axis. So we're going down 5, so we're going down 5, so it'll be a negative 5, and we're going right 1. So you can also make your slope or your rate of change like that as well. You can use the formula, the change in y over the change in x, or you can go ahead and figure out how much you go up or down over how many do you go left or right. Okay, so that's another way you can do it as well. Alright, if you have any questions, go ahead and watch the lesson one more time, and you can go ahead and check in your book for more examples. And as always, if you still have questions, bring them to class tomorrow. I'll be happy to answer them. Let's go ahead and do some on your own.
Alright, you have 3 problems to do for me. Go ahead and find the rate of change and make sure to interpret the results. And what I mean by that is that you tell me how those two numbers are related, or what number's on top, what number's on the bottom, how are they related. Alright, good luck. We'll see what you get tomorrow.